everyone, and good evening. This is Neal with Graveside Paranormal presents Spirits by the Graveside. Tonight's date is 2/20/2022. And this is my co-host, Jill Urchek. Hello,
Hi,
Jill.
Neal.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fantabulous. And before we get into anything, I want to wish you a happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
What did you do on your birthday?
Something I told you about off the air that I won't explain on. You know what? Not much during the day because I have a 7-year-old, but at night I went to Rosebud and pigged out.
Oh, Rosebud's a very good place.
Yeah, but it was there were like 4,000 people in there. I couldn't even hear my husband. We just ate
Really?
furious.
Wow. You see, everybody wants to get out and they want to go do things, man. Everybody wants to get out there.
Overrated, isn't it?
Yeah. Man, that's great.
It was good though. It was nice to have a dinner without the kid.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Did you have a cake afterwards?
I had a cannoli.
You had a cannoli. Oh,
I had
very
a
good.
cannoli. That sounds really dirty, but I did.
Oh, that sounds
and
dirty.
I liked it.
All right. Dirty and you liked it. I'm digging it.
I like cannolis.
Good. Did everybody sing happy birthday to you?
No.
Oh, well,
Nobody
maybe I
sang.
might be able to take care of that.
Oh boy, I'm good.
I know the guy who runs the show.
Thank you, though. I appreciate the wishes.
Yeah, no problem. All right, everybody. Once again, we welcome you into Spirits by the Graveside. Let us start off, as we always do, with the news. A paddleboard instructor in Taiwan captured some rare, rather remarkable footage of a sizable mystery creature that suddenly appeared near him in the water.
好，主播画面上可以看到一条大鱼游在
Even though that was not me speaking in that language. According to the local media report, the wild encounter occurred earlier this month at a location known as Sun Moon Lake, as Lei Yong Li was teaching a pair of tourists. During the lesson, she noticed that something seemingly out of the ordinary had emerged from the depths of the water and was lurking near the surface. Intrigued by the puzzling sight, Yong Li paddled over to it and was left astounded by what he saw. Now, Jill, I want to ask you a question. You see this video here.
Yeah.
Does that look like some sea creature to you?
Well, I watch a lot of dinosaur stuff with my son. Truthfully, it almost looks like a long, slender shark.
Yeah.
I'm like really long and slender though, and kind of wiggles. I don't know what that is.
And they put in there the dramatic thing. It comes out of the depths. I'm like,
where's it going to come out of?
What? If you're on board with the depths, I mean, water, you're coming out of the depths, right?
Yeah.
But they said it was only 6 feet long.
Oh, it looked longer.
Well, maybe it was, but it didn't look anything bigger than like a really long catfish to me. I don't know.
That's it, a catfish. Yeah, it was just long and slender with big eyes.
So I'm going to have to call a little bit of bull on that one.
Don't know what it is.
I don't know. I don't think that's no sea creature or anything like that. But I appreciate when people put things in there over showing videos like that. What do you got, Jill?
You never know. Well, England's full of ghosts. We know this because it's like 4,000 years old. Well, a spooky piece of security camera footage from a pub in England, shows a pint of beer just inexplicably tumbling over in front of a patron. And the manager of the establishment contends that the spill was caused by a mischievous ghost. Well, the eerie incident reportedly occurred on Sunday evening at a 300-year-old White Swan Inn. Think about the history in that. In the town, I think it's Dunstable. Well, according to the manager, Natasha, she first suspected the spill was simply the fault of a clumsy ghost. However, when she gave him grief for making quite a mess, the young man insisted that the pint had moved on its own. Understandably skeptical of the claim, she checked out the pub's security footage and was astounded by what she saw.
And I believe we have that security footage.
We do.
Steve, can you run that, please?
It looks like hands pushed the pint off. The pint goes a bit. The pint goes a bit fuzzy. Like this is the pint that gets knocked over. The candle going mad. See the candle going mad?
Yeah.
Mm. You'll see a hand on it in a minute. It's going to push. See it?
On the pint?
Yeah, same on the pint now, I think.
It is a bit fuzzy.
Yeah, watch. See the hand?
Yeah. No way.
Yep, you watch. That'll go in a minute.
You just done the wind.
See the hand?
It just moved it.
Yeah, wait, watch.
No one's near it.
See the hand?
Yeah.
See that?
Oh.
It looks like.
All right, now I have to say, first I'll ask you, Jill, what do you think of the video?
I didn't see the hand at first, but then
I didn't see in the hand.
Oh, did I not?
No. I'm sorry. Please continue what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I was just like, I don't see it because, it's kind of grainy. And then I did see something that looked like a hand and thought, okay, that's weird. It wasn't condensation, obviously, because it would never move like that. I don't know. Something moved it off.
Yeah, you see, number one, it's on the edge of a table. The other thing is I don't see this magical hand, this invisible hand that she's talking about. Now, I have to admit, this is the third or fourth time I've seen it, and yeah, there is a little bit slight movement to the glass. But you have a lot of people inside of a room. You have very thin a leg table legs on there. Vibrations could actually happen, and for whatever reason, they decided to put that right on the edge of a table. So, once again, I would have to debunk that one and say, I don't know about that one. I'd love to, only because she keeps saying, see the hand? See the hand?
I saw it at the end. It's
you
like
did see the hand?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it was a hand, but I finally saw something kind of like covering it a little.
Really?
But I didn't see it right away. I did not see it right away. You have to really, really look. It didn't look like it was on that edge. It was too close to the edge to me.
Yeah, that's
paranormal, but I don't know.
There could be a lot of different factors that go inside that thing. All right, so we're going to go on to the next little piece of news. The photo was taken in an upstairs window at Beau Monde, now a late-night bar in Morpeth, that formerly housed Chambers Bar. A spooky sighting caught on camera in Morpeth during a ghost tour of the town has left tour guides stunned. The organizers of Morpeth Ghost Tour were carrying out their Valentine's Day tour on February 12th, building, which could date back as far as the 13th century, is a regular stop of the tour due to its reputation for otherworldly occurrences. Bill Bell, the former owner of Chambers Bar, told the Chronicle that living in the eerie pub has changed his mind about the existence of ghosts. Now, can you put up that picture again, Steve, please? It does look like there is like a nose and an eye, but once again, that's where we start falling into the lines of pareidolia. There's an angle on this. It looks like kind of like an angle.
Oh, I see it.
But it is an interesting picture, yes. But if a lot of people would argue. What's that?
Don't you see his beard and his dark hair over his one eye and a white collared shirt, a white shirt with a black kind of cape?
Yeah, I can see where you would say something like that. Yeah, it is. It looks cool as heck.
But you could see the outline of his nose.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue that with you.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, sometimes images, they show up on things like windows on certain angles. I like it when it's like a complete, and once again, it's kind of a grainy picture. Why is it there's always grainy pictures? If this was just taken on February 12th, and someone was taking a picture, you would think it was a little bit better picture. But I mean, it's cool. What do you think?
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. I agree. I see things that whenever I take a picture, I always see faces because that's just what my mind is looking for. But this one seems pretty straightforward to me, like almost like a button-down white shirt. Looks like he might have a black kind of cape on, dark hair, like a long pointed chin or beard. I see a defined nose and eye.
Sure. I'm looking at exactly what you're looking at. So I want to take a moment and I want to say, I want to bring in somebody really quick.
Okay.
The main skeptic that I know out there. Steve, can you bring in just Pat alone just for a second? Hello,
hey,
Pat.
Guys. How's it going?
What's going on? Sorry to put you out like that.
Oh, it's okay.
So if you were to see a picture like that, Pat. Everybody, this is Pat from Ghostly Podcast. Welcome.
Hey, thank you, guys.
If you were to see a picture like that, what would you think?
So for this one, it looks like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes.
And I'm thinking that it's because of Obi-Wan coming back to Disney soon. That's the reason why he's just making an appearance. It's
Just
publicity.
making an appearance for Disney.
Publicity, you know. But I do have something to say about the sea creature one.
Okay.
I know what that sea creature is.
What is that?
It is a thing called a ghost shark. Have you ever heard of a ghost shark?
I have heard of the ghost shark.
Yeah, ghost shark is a. It's not even like it's related to sharks. It's not necessarily a shark. It's made up of a bunch of cartilage in like a weird way, but they usually are down further. They're deeper
in the depths.
In the depths. So it came up from the depths. So it's a ghost shark. That's rare.
What that is. Okay.
They're rare, but that is what it is.
Okay,
see,
well, there you go.
We're on the right guy to help us here today.
Yeah.
That's great.
But that last picture, Obi-Wan, totally.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah, right. Totally Obi-Wan. Yeah, it's a ghost shark. Yep, that picture is very rare because that is a newborn ghost shark that they caught in a fishing net. It's never been filmed before. They have no idea how they're born and what they do. So this is amazing that they found this ghost shark.
Yeah. Look at that.
I seem to know a lot about ghost sharks today.
Wow, that's good, dude. That's good stuff.
Right?
But that was it. You're right. Those were the eyes. That was the look. And I usually love baby anything. That thing looked like a see-through mouse. Ugh.
It did, yeah. And you know what? With that one, they don't even know. There's 50 varieties of ghost sharks. They're also called like ratfish, I believe.
See, there we go.
Yeah, so I don't know. They don't know what exact type it is because it's way too young. They're going to do DNA testing on that. That is recently found, actually.
Wow.
Man, this show has just turned into the Nature Channel.
Right? Yeah. I'm glad to be a part of that.
Thank you. All right, let's move on. Thank you, Pat. Let's go over to our announcements. Steve, if you will, run announcements. First announcement is this Saturday. Graveside Paranormal is going to be at a fest called Dark Matters Winter Tales. Side Street Studio Arts and Ghostly Podcasts, who are with us tonight, will be presenting a weekend of deep, dark, and demented podcasts. They are going to be having things on Friday, and they're going to be being able to have us on the 26th, which is a Saturday. We're going to be out there, and we're going to do at, I believe, 4 o'clock. We are going to be talking about equipment, and I'm going to do a presentation about the best evidence that we have out there, and we're going to talk about paranormal, basically. And then I'm going to be doing a paranormal investigation after 10 o'clock. Steve, can you bring in Pat and Rebecca so they can tell us a little bit more about this? Pat and Rebecca, once again, welcome, Pat. Rebecca, welcome. Can you tell us a little bit more about Dark Matters?
Yeah, it's going to be, we figured it's the middle of winter and we just want to get cozy and listen to dark stories. And so we hope you guys will come out and get cozy with some dark stories all weekend, next weekend in Elgin, Illinois. And we knew that we wanted more though than, first of all, we've got all sorts of dark demented podcasts. We have the ghost stories, of course. We've got Ghostly Podcasts, and Bob After Dark is going to be there too. But we also have some true crime podcasts there. We have a Radio Lucifer, just the name alone, right?
Ooh.
Like, and super excited about them. And just, I don't know, lots of ghost stories. But then we knew we needed more than just that. So Neal, you are coming in and helping us out by running a workshop, help people understand all this. There's so much equipment out there that
so much equipment. We'll get into that. There's so much equipment.
So much stuff. And then, I have heard some ghost stories about this building that we're going to be in the area. So I'm excited that we get to do an investigation.
That's cool.
And you know what? I want to say thank you for inviting us. That's great.
Of course.
Yeah. And there's also free readings, psychic readings. You can get a tarot reading or a palm reading. Mm-hmm. And it's only $10 for the whole entire weekend. And we were able to make this so cheap because we got funding from Elgin, the town itself. And we've
Arts Council.
Yeah, the Arts Council. And we also have some sponsors. So we made this as cheap as possible because there's never been a PodFest in Elgin.
Yeah.
I am really, really excited. I truly am. Excited. I got me and my wife coming out there. I want to meet a whole bunch of different people and, talk about the paranormal. And I want to hear some of that true podcast, True Crimes. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, they are called Bad Taste, True Crime Cast.
Bad Case Crime Cast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And, sorry, I had to say that just right because there was a lawsuit against them at one point because of the name.
Yeah, name.
Oh,
So
really?
I might have said that wrong. If I did, please do not sue me. But yeah, so they talk about things and they put a dark twist on it.
Definitely. We
Yeah.
had a lot of fun.
Well, we have another announcement. Jill, if you may, tell us the next one.
Alrighty, Chicago Paranormal Convention coming up, 40 vendors. There's a raffle. There's tarot and palm readers. It's Sunday, March 6th from noon to 6 at the Haunted Pescadon Banquet, 63rd and Archer, my old stomping grounds right near Resurrection Mary sightings. And some of the speakers there will be Jack Chavez, Tony Sabelski. They are ghost investigators and Chicago history and ghost tour guides. They've been doing this a while. They're awesome. Sam Moranto is Illinois State Director of MUFON Mutual UFO Network. And of course, Rebecca and Patrick will be there as well, which I'm super excited about. I have to go to this thing and you should go get a reading, do your thing, get spooked, buy some crystals, and have a good time.
We're so excited about it too.
Yeah, and
cool.
we're going to be out there. We're going to be out there. What's that, Jill?
I said, I'm sorry, I've only been to one and I want to go.
Well, you know what? I got a table for us out there. If you want to come out, you can come out and meet Jill.
Sunday. Okay.
Yeah,
Fun.
we're going to go out there
On
Sunday.
my child, if I can get around that, I can go.
Yeah, you can bring him over to my house. I'll give him the Xbox. Everything will be all good.
Oh,
It'll be okay.
It's like a babysitter right there.
That's like a babysitter. Throw some
hey, sure,
PBJ,
I'm
some
taking
milk.
it.
We're good.
Yeah.
So
We're
that
all
should be
good.
fun.
So let's bring in also my girl right now, our official witch, Shelley Ward. I like to just call her Michelle.
Hi,
Hey,
everybody.
Michelle, how are you?
Hi, Shelley.
Good. How you doing, everyone?
I'm doing good. Now, I put this panel together because we all are around the same age. And we all like the 80s, the horror movies of the 80s, and a lot of the movies from the 80s. I think, me personally, I think it was one of the best times, at least in my life, for especially movies and stuff like that. I remember when I used to have a place that used to be called Southside Videos on the south side of Chicago. I used to jog my little fat butt up to the video store and go get myself 3 movies. And so I said, the concept I want to do is I want people to pick at least 3 movies of their favorite 80s horror movies. So we're going to talk about those tonight. But first, Steve, with all his hard work, put together something for us. A little bit of the 80s horror and the 80s sitcoms, which were also awesome. Steve, please roll it.
Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paperboy, evening TV. Did I get delivered here? Somebody tell me, please. This old world confusing me. Clouds as mean as you've ever seen. Ain't a bird who knows you're true. Then a little voice inside you whispers, don't sell your dreams so soon. Everywhere you look, there's a heart, a hand to hold on to. Everywhere you look, there's a face of somebody who needs you. Everywhere you look, when you're lost out there and you're all alone, life is waiting to carry you home. Everywhere you look, and everywhere you look,
That was awesome.
No,
That was a lot of fun.
whoever put that together, man, was a genius. Pure genius.
Yeah.
That's what that was.
Amazing.
Mhm.
All right, so we're going to start with, first on the panel, we are going to talk about the 80s movies. In the end, we are going to do a small little trivia game. So for you guys who are listening out there, have 13 little spots written on a piece of paper. You're going to guess the movie from the poster. In the end, we are going to, whoever comes up with the answer, who can put it into our little Facebook comments or our StreamYard comments, will win one free t-shirt from us at Graveside Paranormal. And for the panel here, you will get a special prize from yours truly tonight. I promise you that.
A prize we want, right?
You're going to want this, buddy boy.
Well,
Okay. I'm excited, man.
Neal, I had a dream about the clown 2 nights ago.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was out of the blue. I have very, very vivid, terrifying dreams on a daily, quite often.
Ooh.
But it was like in this garbage rubble thing, and I just remember the clown coming out, and I was like, what the hell?
Are you floating?
In my dream. That was the first.
Wow.
Once I saw the clown, it just came back to me. I'd forgotten until
Did you get a shiver? Did you get a little shiver?
yeah, because I was like, that was it. First, I thought it was. After I had the dream, I thought it looked like Cookie from Bozo, but I realized that was the clown.
We all float down here.
So I just had to say that because that was a repressed memory right there.
All right, I'm glad you could share. Thank you.
Oh.
All right. So, Pat, you're going to lead us off. Tell us what your movie is.
Yes. So I want to preface this by saying that in the 70s, my sister showed me The Entity. And that movie scared me, and it still scares me to this day. I still have nightmares about that movie for some reason. And I did not like horror movies like for a while. And the first one that I actually liked was the Poltergeist movie from 1982. So Poltergeist is a 1982 American supernatural horror film directed by Tobe Hooper and written by Steven Spielberg, which most people don't know. It also Michael Grace and Mark Victor. And Spielberg actually came up with the original story, but he wanted it to be something that was more akin to a spin-off movie or like another sequel of Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Night Skies, I believe. So
Night Skies,
yeah, Hooper was the one that actually was like, no, this should be its own thing and it should be about ghost stories. And this movie scared me as well, but it didn't have that same effect. I love this movie. It it's won several awards, mostly the Saturn Awards. It won 3 out of the 6 times it was nominated. It won those. It was nominated for 3 Academy Awards as well. Did not make those, but Poltergeist was released theatrically by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer on June 4th of 1982. The film was a commercial success and earned $76,606, and it was amazing, making it the highest-grossing horror film of 1982 and 8th overall for the entire year.
That was a good movie. That was one of my favorites too. Is that Poltergeist movie, dude?
Yeah, I'm glad that Spielberg couldn't do it. He was working on another movie, which you guys might not have heard of. It's called E.T. So he was contractually obligated to that one. So he was not allowed to do much for it.
Yeah, that was a very good movie, man. And it was a shame that the girl Carol, who played Carol Ann, she died in the third one. Am I right, Michelle? She died in the third one.
She died 7 months after the release of the third film, Heather O'Rourke.
Oh, yeah. What a cutie.
She had issues before that, but the third film was actually filmed downtown Chicago in the John Hancock building.
Really?
So that was a little creepy.
Yeah, and then
don't forget about the Reverend Kane.
Yeah.
You're gonna die.
You're all gonna
Tangina. All those characters that, just I can never forget about, especially like little Tangina. This is clean. And all the famous
now she's supposed to be basically what's her name? The Warrens.
Yes.
Oh, Lorraine.
Yeah, she was Lorraine Warren.
Yeah.
Isn't she, Pat?
Similar.
She kind of reminds me of that, except I think that's kind of fake, and I thought that she was more realistic. So,
oh Lord. All right, now Rebecca, what is yours?
So I actually picked The Shining to start with my movie picks, which It wasn't actually one of my favorites at the time. It came out in 80. I was a bit young to see it in 80. But even when I was old enough to see it, but I recently rewatched it and I kind of got it more. I mean, I love the book, so I was a little, kind of Stephen King famously doesn't love this movie about this adaptation of his book, but I appreciated it more as an adult. So I'm bringing it up again. It was released in May 23rd in 1980. It happened to be released the same weekend as a little movie called The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh dear,
never heard of it.
Yeah,
another
again,
one.
So one of those things where it only went out on 10 screens when it came out, but it actually did pretty well. It grossed like 45 million in the end, and was a commercial success. It was pretty successful when it came out. Directed by Stanley Kubrick, of course, co-written with Diane Johnson. And interestingly, though, like today, if you talk to a lot of horror fans, they're gonna say it's one of the best, right? Like so visually stunning and just amazing, the cinematography. But when it came out, actually, it had mixed reviews from film reviewers. Neither Siskel nor Ebert reviewed it on sneak previews. Didn't even put it on their show.
Wow.
No.
With Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And Shelley Duvall. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Olive oil.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Or I, knew her. Well, I did know her from Popeye, but also her fairy tales. So, but yeah, and Ebert did write a review for the Sun-Times where he complained it was hard to connect with any of the characters.
What?
And Siskel gave it 2 stars and called it a, quote, crashing disappointment. The biggest surprise is that it contains virtually no thrills.
Are you out of your mind?
Given Kubrick's world-class reputation, one's immediate reaction is that maybe he was after something other than thrills in the film. If so, it's hard to figure out what.
Man, they must have been high or something. That guy.
It wasn't just them. I mean, you could go through it. It wasn't nominated for any Oscars or Golden Globes.
Yeah, but it got the last laugh, right? Because it's well known and so well liked.
It did so well. Like it's got an 8.4 out of 10 rating on IMDb, which is really pretty high. And it's at number 396 of all time right now on IMDb. So
wow. Now did you see the second movie that recently came out with the guy?
Sleep?
Yes,
good.
I saw that. That was good.
Again, I read the book.
So much better though.
Yeah.
I know. I read the book and I just
Awesome.
haven't. It was really, really good. But I will watch the movie. I have. It's John Cusack.
No. The guy who plays Obi-Wan Kenobi, actually.
Oh, that's right. That's
Ewan
right. Ewan McGregor.
yeah.
Ewan McGregor.
Right.
Yeah. Now, The Shining, the book itself was based off of the movie, or based off of a story from the Stanley Hotel, right?
Right. You did a special
in Ghost Adventure.
Yeah, we did that.
Go there.
Yeah, we
Hotel.
ghostly did an episode on it. Yeah.
And that was super creepy place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stephen King also put a lot of himself in Jack Nicholson's character, in that character, just because he was an alcoholic at the time, and
he's super creepy, so it makes sense.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I will say, when I watched it when I was younger, I was like, I am one of those that's like, it's not as good as the book, and it isn't. But on its own, as its own movie, if you take it outside of the book, it's pretty amazing.
Jack Nicholson was awesome in it.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, how don't you get an Oscar for that role? That's nuts.
Nothing.
Well, all right. Well, thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on to my girl, Michelle.
You mentioned going to the video stores in our younger days, and that was always one thing that I would look for, considering what movie am I going to rent, and I would always look at the cover. What kind of cover was it? It was something disturbing, or did it look too cheesy to rent? So I think a lot of my decisions were always based on cover of the videos, and just praying that that video was behind the display. You go to remove it and be gone. So But the movie that I chose was a movie called Scanners, and that was from 1981.
Right.
And it was actually a Canadian sci-fi horror film directed by David Cronenberg, starring Jennifer O'Neill, Stephen Lack, Michael Ironside, and Patrick McGowan. And what this movie basically was about were scanners are psychics with telepathic and telekinetic powers, and which means that they can read your mind and move objects with their mind. It was basically, the good guys versus the bad guys. There was one weaponry company that wanted to create their own, subhuman race of these scanners. But the most famous scene that I always will never forget from that movie is when the guy's head explodes. And for anyone that's ever seen that, back in the day, it was, pretty mind-blowing back then. Today, you look at it from 1981, you look at the special effects, you're like,
yeah.
Back then, whoa,
that was the stuff, man.
Yeah.
And it was just based by mind control. So for me, that it was a little concerning. I mean, you look at what the government has done now that we do know of. But just people being able to control things and
to make
start a war, basically, over all that.
I love this mind stuff. Like The Shining and that kind of go hand in hand with the mind stuff.
It's like the
or in The Simpsons, they actually called it the shinning.
The
shinning,
yes.
Remember that?
Yeah.
He's got the shinning in him.
Well, and it wasn't that big of a box office hit. I think it was 14.2 million that they drew in, and
I'll take it.
But some consider it a cult classic. They went on to make part 2 and part 3, I believe. After that, I only saw the first one. So
that's one movie I don't think I've ever seen, Scanners, and that's amazing to me that I haven't seen that. But now, Jill, thank you, Michelle. Jill, what do you have for us?
And I also thought of 2 others if nobody has them, Neal, if there's time as we were going through this, because I had a week. Anyway, Halloween. the original. Halloween, 1978. Took less than 2 weeks to write the script for this thing. The film had a $300,000 budget, so we have to go back, to 1978 to figure what that was. The reason I love Halloween, I want to say, is I'm not into special effects. Up here is where I want to be frightened. Up here is where I want to be on the edge of my seat. And Halloween did that. Because they had such a low budget, they went on to gross $47 million at the U.S. box office. So in 2008, they made that equivalent to about $150 million. So it was definitely one of the highest ones. Still to this day, John Carpenter, the Halloween theme song is the best. I wanted it as a ringtone. I listen to it regularly on Spotify. I think that makes me a weirdo. And then they have a lot of mixed versions of it, which is really cool. It's just a very cool theme. This put Jamie Lee Curtis in the spotlight for sure. And what's cool about it is when Carpenter was considering the person for Jamie Lee Curtis, he was such a huge fan of Psycho, Hitchcock, and I'm a huge Hitchcock fan, but we're talking 80s. So he chose her since she is Janet Leigh's daughter, the woman in Psycho who was murdered. So I kind of like that. But just the fact that they filmed it in California in spring, and they literally bought a bunch of leaves, a little trivia, colored them to sprinkle them on the ground. If you look, this particular part of California, there is a palm tree in one of the scenes, but you really have to look for it. So they try to pick the most, what would be equivalent to maybe Bloomington, Illinois right now, to make it look like it was here. But the whole thing about it, the fact that the budget was low, and it still scares me to death this day. You're babysitting, it's Halloween night. You've got that feeling of, I love Halloween. Everyone's trick-or-treating, everyone's masked up, so you don't know who is who. Just turning the corner. And what's cool about Michael Myers is he doesn't speak. He just kills you.
Pretty much.
I mean, there is no
matter how fast you run, he doesn't have to run.
He doesn't run. He's got superhuman strength. But again, I reiterate, that movie scares me in a sense of a psychological thriller. And that's what I look for in a horror movie.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
That's one of the first big horror films too, right?
Huge.
The first major. Yeah.
And that one, the other ones were okay, but then you start throwing in special effects. Sometimes it ruins it for me. just scare me up here. Because if you've got me up here, then I'm hooked.
Yeah.
So that's one of my all-time favorite.
All right, good. Thanks, Jill.
Sure.
Appreciate that. Now, mine is almost kind of like what Pat was talking about. Him and I think we have something in common. We were both scared the shit out of by a movie called The Entity.
Yes. Oh my God.
Single mother Carla Moran, Barbara Hershey played her, is raped and attacked by an invisible force. She begins therapy with Dr. Phil Snyderman, Ron Silver, a psychiatrist who believes Carla's traumatic past is motivation to her to commit self-induced injuries, rather than anything supernatural. When the attacks continue, Carla invites 2 college students with an interest in the paranormal to visit her house. After seeing the ghost in action, they agree to help Carla defeat the invisible attacker. Now, this movie was released on February 4th, 1983 in the U.S. Director Sidney Furie. Once again, starring Barbara Hershey. This movie made about $13.3 million. Now, I remember seeing this movie, and I was a young kid, man, and that movie scared the hell out of me.
Well, it was based on a true story.
Based on a true story, like a lot of these movies.
We brought it up on one of our podcasts a while ago. We had mentioned that
like a lot of these Conjuring movies, they're based on true stories. But what I found interesting, and I don't even know if you touched upon this part, Pat, what I find interesting is in the movie, they actually did some ghost busting. At the end of the movie, they come up with this idea, and it actually kind of makes sense because of molecules, okay, energy and this and that, where they are actually going to try to freeze this entity. And in the movie, they actually freeze it like it's in an ice cube and it's moving around. And you see the shadow inside this ice cube. And I'm like, as a kid, I'm like, holy shit, this is real. You're like, oh my God.
That movie still, I still just, man. And I tried to find it when we did an episode on the Entity House recently. Tried to find it. It is impossible to find now.
Really?
Unless you get a DVD, and who plays those anymore? Right?
Actually, you're right. I did go on Amazon Prime because I wanted to watch it today while I was at the gym, and it says it's not on Amazon. So I'm like,
it's not on anything. You can't get it on Apple, and Apple's got every freaking movie out there. So I don't know what the thing is, but I couldn't show it to Rebecca, and Rebecca's never seen it. So.
Oh, that movie is, I mean, like Michelle was saying, Jill was saying how, nowadays, if we look back at these things, you'd see how hokey it looks compared to what we have now. But still, like I try to show my son the original Superman movie with Christopher Reeve compared to the Henry Cavill movie. And I understand, it doesn't look the same, but it is interesting, though. They're supposed to make a remake of The Entity, though, Pat. They are supposed to be making that thing. But I found it so interesting that I wonder if they actually came up with that concept idea, those 2 scientists. Now, you would tell me better than I would know from the movie. Did they actually come up with that idea to want to freeze that?
No, that never happened.
That never happened.
No, all that part is just Hollywood. They did do a paranormal investigation of the actual house. And what was very interesting to me is that it was focused on one room of the house. And it was a bedroom. And this was in the 70s where there wasn't that many people into paranormal investigation, but there was enough. So there was between 30 to 50 different paranormal investigators inside a bedroom together with this woman that she was an alcoholic. She had a lot of issues. I don't even know where to begin talking about her, but and I mean, Rebecca will tell you that she believes that they actually caught some stuff there during that investigation.
Oh, yeah. There's some very good photos.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
I think I sent you a photo or 2 photos.
You did.
And because once he said that he was doing a thing on The Entity, I go, oh, well, I got tuned into that.
Yeah.
And so I remember seeing that arc of light. And then you also saw what was believed to be a shadow in the corner.
Yeah.
Of the big entity.
Now, as a paranormal investigator, what do you think about those 2 pieces of evidence, Neal?
That one that's in the bedroom.
Yes.
I cannot, because I'm not a photographer, okay? Understand, everybody has a skill and stuff. that is such an interesting photo. If you ask me, I know you don't like it, but I think that arc was really interesting, and I like the possibility that it was a shadow person probably in that corner. It was a corner, right?
Yeah, it was a corner.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'll show it to you this week. I promise you that. Some shadow people pictures, real shadow person pictures. I promise you that. And you're gonna be like this, oh my God. That's why I do believe that these things are real. I know that they're real. Let me just put it this way. I know that they're real. And there's been people who've tried to debunk certain things, and then there's people who are able to prove it. So it's like a flip of a coin. Sometimes I got this person who says yay, and I got this person who says nay. But no matter what, out of everything, that movie, The Entity, just scared the crap out of me.
It scared me too. I'm a skeptic, so I don't believe any of it. But that movie, I just can't get that out of my head. It was like when I was at the most impressionable age I could possibly be at, and watching that movie with my sister and her friend. Oh my God!
Yeah, me personally, I like that arc picture, and once again, I cannot prove or disprove because I have seen pictures like that before.
Yeah,
I've actually seen a picture where it could be in fraction of light because, like, I was in Tennessee, and me and my wife were taking a picture in the mountains of Tennessee, and I noticed a fraction of light, and I'm like, well, that could just be a fly going across, and when someone's flashing something, it shows the stream.
Could be the shutter speed.
So what you have to do is you have to reproduce all that all over again to prove or disprove something.
Yeah, you do.
Does that make sense, Pat?
Yeah, but the thing that was really interesting about this arc of light is it was not in the center of the room where it was all the same wall. It was shot at like a corner of the particular bedroom. So it went from you'd have to see the picture at the time, but it went from the one wall to the other wall.
Right.
So it bounced off of walls, and there was no sway in that at all, which would show up in a picture usually if it's a light reflecting.
But do we know if that room was actually put in the dark?
That's it right there.
Oh, so, there's the two arcs. That's what it is.
Now here's the thing: is you can already see that there's brightness in the back. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now that's a different brightness from the brightness that we're seeing over the arc.
Yeah.
So, and then you're also going to see another arc that's over to your left over that lady's blonde hair. Do you see that going up?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think
that's
that
Ringo
is
Starr actually right there.
What's that?
I think that's Ringo Starr, not a woman. Blonde hair.
Okay. I think that
down.
I don't know what that is, but that picture there, it's so thick.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound right.
But notice how there's the corner of the room there, and you can see where the walls meet. But that light does not. That means that the light is not at the wall. That means it's before the wall. So the way that it's hitting, it's hard to replicate that. I mean, I guess you can do that if you have a light and you cover up the middle of the light and you're just using like the outer ridges of it, but still, it's not on the bottom.
So what I would say is to something like that, when you get something like that, because I cannot prove or disprove that, is that, and I understand what you're saying, find out the other 2 or 3 photos that are taken after the fact. That's one thing that they don't do,
right.
Okay? They give you that photo there, but of course, they're not just going to take one photo. Most people are going to do these things, take at least 2 or 3 photos in that same area. So if we could ever find the history on that, that would be something spectacular.
Yeah, they didn't have many photos that they used as evidence for that.
Okay.
They only had that. They only have the 2 pictures that you sent me were the 2 pictures that were released.
Was that a Polaroid?
I don't know.
No. Okay, because it didn't look like one, but it looked so old. That's why I asked, because I know that those pictures come out differently than.
It is 70s photography, so I mean that is. Yeah.
But I see what you're saying, because in the right corner where the wall would go like bend.
Yeah.
The light didn't bend with it.
It did not bend.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So then let's move on to back to Pat. What is your second movie, sir?
I am going to actually cede my time to Rebecca to talk about
both of us. This is both of us.
Yes,
I'll
talk
give
about
some
one of my favorite horror movies of all time. You talked about Halloween, Jill, and I loved Halloween, but Freddy beats Michael Myers any
Oh
day.
my
of
God.
the week.
Day.
Fighting
Any
words.
day.
Yes.
Any day. Yeah.
Fighting
That's one
words.
thing that Pat and I connected with when we started doing our podcast is we both love Nightmare on Elm Street. Totally.
I do like it, but
I mean, it's got Johnny Depp in it. Come on.
It's got Johnny Depp in it. So just some things about Nightmare on Elm Street came out in 1984, and it is definitely a slasher film. This is not a psychological film. This is,
But it is funny though. You know, there is funny parts in it.
Well, I was gonna say, so it's Wes Craven, and again, it's got Johnny Depp in it, Robert Englund as Freddy. And what I loved about it is that Freddy is not your typical slasher. He's not Jason, he's not Michael Myers. Like, he's gonna make you laugh. He talks, he has a personality. Right, Pat? Like, that's the best part.
Yeah, he
about
harasses
him.
you and laughing at you while he's killing you. Sure.
Exactly. And just and messes
That's
with
even
their
more
brains.
terrifying than just being silent during it. I mean, he will talk you through killing you.
Yeah, exactly.
He will give you the play-by-play of him killing you.
And his character continued to evolve all the way into the Dream Children. What was it called? The Dream Children?
The Dream Warriors.
Dream Warriors, right.
Warrior. Yeah, sorry.
Please.
Catchy music. He's got his theme song, right? The 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was absolutely a success. I mean, for a horror movie, when it came out. It was came out November 9th, 1984, opened 165 theaters, grossed, I don't know, a lot of money. What is that? $1,271,000 in its opening weekend, 25 million overall. And the reviews were, pretty good. I mean, for a low budget horror movie.
Right. And there's 6 sequels to it too.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's definitely lasted.
And you know what? Here's the thing, though, Jill, is that movies like Halloween had to happen for a Nightmare on Elm Street to happen.
True, it's got to start somewhere.
It could not. Halloween primed the way for horror movies going into the 80s. If it wasn't for that movie, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. We would be talking about Adam Sandler movies or something.
Right.
And I love Halloween, there's nothing wrong with that. But I like, to me, Freddy is just this perfect mixture of jump scares. But I mean, here's the thing. I love horror movies because to me, they're always good. They're either good and funny, or they're bad, or sorry, they're good and scary, or bad and funny. Good either way. Like, it's like, I'm happy. And so to me, Nightmare on Elm Street just puts all of that together. And the idea that you don't know if you're sleeping. Is this a dream? Is it not? What's happening? And then just when you think it's over, it's never over, because he's always going to be there in your dreams. And Heather was a super relatable main character, right? She was a, chick that's gonna fight back, and she's not gonna, so the parents are a bit caricaturish in there, but I love it. And then oddly enough, both Pat and I we found out both loved Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Yes.
That would just I could watch that over and over again. It doesn't. There's where they're in the mental hospital, everything's good.
But if you watch the first,
I actually thought that you said. I thought you said if we were in a mental hospital.
No,
we could watch them in a mental hospital too.
That would maybe be a reason to.
The first two have this weird, homosexual tendency, homophobia almost to it. Yeah, the second one does. The first one does too, a little bit, but it's really odd that if you watch it nowadays, everything stands up except for those attitudes, though.
So the second one was weird. Yeah,
it is really weird, and it's you're wait a second, this can't be happening because this guy is probably gay. I'm assuming,
but they won't let him be gay.
They won't let him. Yeah, it's really odd.
Yeah.
Why can't it let him be gay? Come on, man.
No, it's really it's funny, but it's weird to watch. But anyways, Nightmare on Elm Street classic. If you have if you haven't seen the Trinity, right? Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Friday the 13th.
It's true.
That's your starting zone.
Mm-hmm.
That's your Saturday night.
Exactly. But Michelle, I'm the same way too. I looked at so many covers of movies. I mean, I picked some ones that were more popular tonight, but I just remember spending far too long at the
Oh, yeah.
video store, looking at every single cover that I could, and just picking based on that. It's just so many
Exactly.
good ones out there.
Whether it be a hit or a miss.
Yeah, doesn't matter. It's all
Yeah.
good.
Mhm.
So, Michelle, that leads you into you now. What is yours second one?
So I have another Wes Craven movie.
Oh, Lord.
This one was from 1988, and it's called The Serpent and the Rainbow.
Most terrifying movie. One of the scariest ever.
Yes, and
Writing it
so
down.
many people forget about this one.
Yes.
And you know, like you just did. Oh yeah,
And you can see it on widescreen now too.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah. Well, supposedly it was based on a true story, written by the Wade Davis, starring Bill Pullman, Kathy Tyson, Zakes Mulcahy, and Paul Winfield. And Bill Pullman's character, Dennis Allen, is basically an anthropologist on a trail looking for zombie potion. And after hearing rumors about an herbal medicine in Haiti used by black magic practitioners that raises people from the dead, Allen is contracted by a medical company to visit Haiti to see if the rumors are true. This story creeped me out so much. Basically, because one, they were touching on a lot of voodoo.
Mm-hmm.
They were also the government conspiracy, and then there was other things, like they were actually showing how to make this recipe, how to make a zombie. Pretty much, yeah. I remember reading a book in high school, Jill. I think I took a history book, and it might have actually been this book, The Serpent and the Rainbow, and pretty much everything that they were showing in the movie were the actual ingredients for this potion. Pretty scary.
Wow.
Just Haiti in general. Again, it's a third world country. But the movie grossed $19.5 million at the box office. And it did have a lot of mixed review with the audiences. Some people thought it was just too bogged down by too many special effects. My favorite part of the movie was Bill Pullman goes into the forest with a shaman, I believe it was, who is supposed to show him the potion. So he winds up drinking it, starts hallucinating. Here comes this skeletal bride walking through. Next thing, he's falling into a pit of dead corpses, all clawing at him. That was the one that scared the most. I think being buried alive.
Being buried alive, yeah.
Being buried alive.
Yep.
Not the fact that coming back from the dead, it's just that being buried alive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And just other things, they interviewed like two people that were apparently zombies. They were given some potion. Doctor thought they had died, buried them, and up to a year or two later, here come these people walking through the town. So, and I have seen stories, not saying they're true, but yeah, it's pretty scary thinking that there could be a potion out there.
I don't know. I think a lot of these movies, and not just horror movies, really imitate life more than we realize. And then you say, God, that's just like a movie, when in reality, perhaps.
Right.
Maybe
speaking,
people knew a lot of things before we did, and movies came out to make us go, oh, okay, that's just like the movie, when it's really almost like psychological warfare.
Right.
Well, that actually leads us into you now, Jill. Do you have a second one for us?
Yeah, you know what? And I don't know if you have this, Neal, because I know that we didn't. I have two of them, and I'll just pick one. I'm torn between Pet Sematary and Carrie. Now, I think Carrie came out in the 70s.
I think 78. 77.
Okay, I'll go Pet Sematary, because that one freaked the hell out of me. You get this house off the road, and there's this cute little boy, and he's got blonde hair, and I love kids. So like any kid I just love kids. So I'm, endearing to this child. And then you got Herman Munster on there, sitting on the porch, whatever.
Yeah.
Then your heart stops as anybody, especially as a parent, when the kid crosses the road and gets killed, right? That is just any parent's worst nightmare. And then to have him come back and these dead animals, and they're back, and then there's that scary woman with the spine sticking out of her back in the bedroom, Rachel. I remember watching this movie, Rachel, and I'm like, what the hell am I watching this for? My hair's standing up talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Something about that movie scared the crap out of me. Did that freak you out at all, Pet Cemetery?
Oh yeah,
that was a good one.
Oh yeah,
or the part where Herman Munster gets cut in the ankle by Paige.
Yeah, and
chasing him around.
I don't know.
Fair, you cheated.
I
No
would.
fair.
Right.
Oh,
fair,
no
you
fair.
cheated.
You
And then he just like
cheated.
slumps over and dies.
There it is.
Oh,
I would argue though
Oh.
that this time the movie is exactly the same as the book, so you can't say the book is better than the movie because it's like word for word. I tried to read the book
Oh,
after seeing
really?
the movie, and I could not because it's like this is the movie.
Right.
I'm reading the script of the movie pretty much.
That is bizarre. Yeah, that one it's a little, it's a little like offbeat. Not many people talk about Pet Cemetery. Great song, by the way. I don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery. But truly, that movie frightened me.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
The Rachel one,
All good ones. Well, I guess that leads into me now.
yes.
The next movie. Child's Play.
Oh,
There it is.
Now,
somebody had to do this.
yeah. Karen buys her son Andy a sought-after doll for his birthday. Andy names it Chucky from The Good Guys. Things take a turn for the worse when Andy discovers that Chucky is possessed by the spirit of a serial killer. Now, let me just throw this out here real quick. Can you imagine in this day and age something like that could happen? And let's say the Good Guys doll was a clown and a certain serial killer by the name of John Wayne Gacy came back and went inside this doll. Now that would be a good movie, man. Now that
You should produce that.
I'm telling you, right?
There's haunted dolls, Neil, so you never know. I mean,
Yeah, like Robert the Doll. I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of what he's based
Robert
off
the
of,
Doll,
right?
Annabelle.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robert the Doll. What do you think actually was probably the first real possessed doll
Holly Hopper.
ever known? What do you think?
Lamb chop? I don't know.
No. Actually, it's Pinocchio.
Pinocchio, yeah, that's right.
yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, it's really Pinocchio.
Scary thing comes to life. Come on.
Yeah, and it grows this long nose and all kinds of crazy shit.
He is a
happens.
real boy.
Yeah, he's
Now,
a
would
real
you go to
boy.
the island of the dolls? in
I've seen
Mexico?
videos.
I
Yeah.
decorate my house, part of my bush like that.
Oh,
Dolls
really?
all over the
I
place.
would love
Friday.
to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
that's
Yes,
good
Neil,
stuff.
he's seen it.
Well, that was release date was in 1988, starring Catherine Hicks, Chris Sarandon, and actually that made a very good box office for that week, $44.2 million.
Dang.
Wow.
And came off they got all these sequels. Like one of my favorite is The Bride of Chucky.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, that is so good. Especially when she has the baby.
Mhm.
I'm like, how did that happen, man? Like you have to be imagining, And I just found it hilarious. The whole series is just hilarious.
It is.
But that movie there was it wasn't really, really scary. It was just like Rebecca would tell you, like Nightmare on Elm Street. No matter what, it entertained you.
Yeah, it did.
It was so stupid. It was good.
It was like the Leprechaun in that same kind of idea.
Oh my God.
Leprechaun doesn't scare you, but Warwick Davis entertains you.
Did
Jennifer
you ever
Aniston,
see Leprechaun in the
Nose
Hood?
job.
I've seen the
Yes.
commercials for it. I never saw it.
No, you got to
No,
see
it's all-
Leprechaun in the Hood,
At our
man.
old
It's
neighborhood.
hysterical.
Yeah.
That movie
It was
there.
was that like Candyman shot in Cabrini Green?
Oh no. Cabrini Green, I think Candyman was shot in Cabrini Green.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Now here's a true story. Because majority of you all know that I work for a certain law enforcement, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got in the 90s a guy who was in the Cabrini Green area who used to dress up like a clown, like what's that from Living Color clown? What was his name?
Homie the Clown.
Homie the Clown. So this guy was going around and everybody's like, oh, good, it's Homie the Clown. Everybody's going to entertain us. And so this is a true story. He would walk around with bricks inside of his bag. You know how Homie would say,
Yes.
know,
Homie, don't play that.
Homie don't play that.
Mhm.
And everybody's like, oh, he's going to do that. Homie don't play that. And he was whacking people over the heads with these bag of bricks. It's a true story, man.
I bet he didn't do that to the Bishop Don Magic Wand.
There he is.
No, he probably didn't do it to him. But
Yeah.
that was true. That happened, man.
Wow.
I remember hearing that story, and I was like, oh, damn. I hope you don't come here.
Crazy.
But Child's Play is a classic. So Bob from Bob After Dark, he is afraid of dolls because of that movie.
Really?
And anytime he sees a doll, he shivers. You can see it in his face. So bring him dolls.
Thank you for
That's
telling
what
me
I
that.
always do. Yeah.
Thank you.
Go to
You know, we
Kansas,
have a concept on our tours of haunted dolls. When I do tours, and I actually have some haunted dolls that are on the bus, and I give it to people, and I have a certain thing to talk about and this and that. And I gave it to this lady. I go, now you have taken possession of this doll. So you have to now call out my name, that your name now has to come in and say, I, such and such, has taken possession of this doll. And I'll say, I, Neal, have relinquished the power of the doll.
Wow.
And I handed it to this lady, right? And she was working at where my wife was working. And like about 6 weeks later, she brought the doll and put it in a bag and everything and left it on my wife's seat at work. Take this back.
Wow.
I have it down in my garage right now.
Wow.
She was freaking out. They was freaking out all about it. Wow. It was weird. So let's move on. Pat, you have one last one, you and Rebecca?
Yes, I would want to talk about one movie. It came out in 1986, and this was one of my favorites back in the day, too. It was called Witchboard.
Good call.
So yeah, it's a American supernatural horror film written and directed by Kevin S. Teeney in his directorial debut, and starring Tawny Kitaen, which
she was. Why you liked
just
it?
Passed away, didn't
she? She just passed away recently. She was the redhead from the White Snake videos,
climbing on top of the car.
On the cars, yeah. So that movie was so good because that's it right there. That's when I was starting to get into more the paranormal and starting to get into the Ouija boards and stuff. And in there, they have like 3 rules to using a witch board: that you can't use it while under the influence, that you can't use it by yourself. And then there was another one I can't remember because it's all made up. But anyways, so that movie guided me into this. I enjoyed that movie so much. It was probably not a blockbuster success. I'm trying to find.
I remember it though. I did.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it a lot. It was one of those ones that probably went straight to video, I think, after it came out. But no, I don't see any kind of what it made in the box office. So I'm assuming it did not do well.
No, but you are right about the lady who was in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's something else there.
Or was.
Just watch
she was, yeah.
Video.
Yeah, not anymore. Right. She's not as attractive anymore. I'm just going to say that.
A little gray around the gills.
Now,
go ahead.
I do have one that I kind of forgot about, but I was going to talk about Children in the Corn, Children of the Corn, which is great, which is amazing because I did watch that at a slumber party, and I may have scared some girls that were there. But actually, the very first horror movie that I ever saw was The Watcher in the Woods, which was a Disney movie. That's how I convinced my mother to let me rent it.
Wow.
It came out in 1980, and it actually had Betty Davis in it.
Yes.
And it terrified me. I actually rewatched it as like an adult, and it still terrified me. It was super, super creepy. It was like this creepy woman in the woods, and these children end up coming there, and you think, oh man, she's, really going to do something bad. And I don't want to give away all the twists and turns in case somebody wants to watch it, because it is amazing. But there's just a lot of suspense. It's definitely, there are some special effects in there, but it is definitely in your head. Like there's a lot of, oh my gosh. So if you know what, Children of the Corn is great, Malachi and all of that, but I'm sorry to sneak in two here, but I just thought of Watcher in the Woods, and I love this movie, so I want to get it out there.
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, it's great.
So, Shell, that leads into you now.
Well, my pick was also Poltergeist, like Patrick. Basically, the special effects. You think about that one scene in the yard where I think the mom's name was Diane, was in the pool of water, and not pop all these corpses. And one of the rumors was actually that those were actual skeletons that they used in that scene.
They were. Some of them
And
were.
apparently somebody agreed under oath that, yes, they were actual skeletons that were taken from different schools, you know, the kind that they would hang up in the classrooms.
It was cheaper.
And they didn't tell the actors beforehand to get their response.
Can you
to
imagine
it.
that? Hey, there's a dead body clinging onto you.
Yeah,
right
exactly.
there.
Oh, jeez.
And then another thing you think about Poltergeist is the movie is supposedly one of the cursed movies.
Yes.
There were so many people. I don't really know if I would call it cursed. Besides Heather O'Rourke, the other big one was, I think it was Dominique Dunn. She was the older sister in the first one, and she was stalked and murdered by her ex-boyfriend. And then you had the gentleman who played Reverend Kane, but he was older gentleman. You know, there were a few people that did die after production of the movie, but they had prolonged illnesses. So
if there was someone who needed an Oscar, that was that guy, that Reverend Kane, just for that one thing.
He's the one that creeped me out more than anybody.
I wanted the coach to get it. Craig
D. Nelson. Yeah.
Coach.
Right.
Coach is great.
Coach.
Yeah. But
all right.
Overall,
now,
it was such
Jill,
a great movie.
Yeah, very good.
Jill, what do you got for your last one?
Well, like I said, since I only had one originally, and I brought up Carrie, and I just looked, and that was 1976, but I'm using it anyway. The little I remember now, that Sissy Spacek?
Yes.
Yeah, Sissy Spacek.
I don't mean this to sound mean. I really don't, but she's kind of creepy on her own. I think she's just her cheekbones. And
there's something about that face.
I don't mean that from coming from a mean place. But then you get her in that movie and how she was made fun of. We can all, you know, she's in high school. Everyone made fun of her. Then they made her feel like the pretty girl. You know, it's like Mean Girls taking a blood shower. And the thing that scared me, it was so dark. And was it prom or whatever that dance was? Just her taking that shower in the blood. Just, you know, you're watching a movie that's good when you're not just scared, but you feel it in your gut, like sick. Not because it was blood. I felt so bad for her.
Yeah.
You just feel, I felt so bad for her. And I'm like, that's not the way I wanted to. At least
her mother was the one that would scare me.
Yeah.
Did I watch
very
that
end.
around my prom? Yes, I did.
Or prom night. That was fun. Prom night was a great movie. But I just felt really bad for her. And it wasn't a movie that made me feel good at the end. It just, I think maybe because a lot of people experience what you probably experienced. So it just gave me a really creepy feeling, and I really didn't watch that one.
Yeah, she was bullied. I mean,
bullied. And then the joke was on her at the end again, and that just, I don't know. I guess
it was crazy. That movie was crazy, man.
It reminds me of Firestarter a little bit too.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't John Travolta? Oh, Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, there she is. Oh,
yeah, there she is. Yeah,
poor thing. She just wanted to have a life.
Yeah, right.
Just a life.
A lot of Stephen King in all these movies.
Yeah. So that brings it to me now for the last one of the day. Now, this movie here was originally in 1978. Like I told you, in the 1980s, I used to just jog my little fat ass up to a place called Southside Video. And I would grab movies, and I saw this movie, and I said, oh, it's got to be a horror movie. Little did I know that when I got home, it was, but it wasn't. It was a movie called Faces of Death.
Oh no!
This movie.
So this movie here in 1978, I'm calling it 80s because I watched it in the 80s. American Mondo horror film written and directed by John Allen Schwartz, credited under the pseudonyms of Conan LeClaire. Was release date November 10th, 1978, and it actually made $35 million.
Whoa.
Wow.
Worldwide.
It was banned in the U.S. at one time.
Yes.
So that's probably the reason why you didn't see it till the 80s.
Yeah. So I watched this movie, and I thought it was just a horror movie because I was a big horror guy. I just wanted to watch anything. And so I just got through making Stouffer's macaroni and cheese, right?
Oh, no.
And so I'm sitting there, and I'm starting to eat it. And the first thing up is about how they kill cows, basically.
Yeah.
And how they do that. And then they're cutting underneath the belly and all the intestines are falling out. And I'm like this with Stouffer's. I'm like, what the?
I thought you were going to say the monkey part.
Oh, my God. They're horrible. Yeah. I was like, and I swear to God. So I was sick like that. I continued to watch this thing, and it got to the monkey part, right? And all of a sudden, they're doing this, and I'm thinking, man, I'd really like to beat these people's asses. This is so wrong. What are you doing to this poor little monkey? But this movie here, I have to fall in the line of horror because it was horror.
It was horror.
But that falls into our age of what was coming out. And it's amazing to me that they actually put that out there where you could buy that at the movie store.
Yeah,
it's like
it's not just one. There's like 5. 3 or 4, 5. Wow,
there's 5 of those suckers.
I did not know that.
Nope, didn't had no interest in it. I will say that was one.
Rebecca, I didn't even know what it was at first. I didn't even know what it was. I just thought it was just another horror movie, and I'm like, this what the?
Well, don't they show the crime scene too, where the body was in the dumpster, torn apart or something like that?
Oh, geez.
They showed a lot of things. Like I'll never forget. I saw that thing where, like, just so you know, ladies and gentlemen, don't let your kids rent this movie.
No,
I have to put that out there. Disclosure: do not rent this movie. Watch everybody.
Although I think a lot of it was faker than they let on. That it was.
Yeah, you know what? You'd like to wonder, like. The thing that they did with
yourself that. Just tell yourself.
I do. I tell myself that every night.
That's how you live with that movie, I think, is what you have to tell yourself.
Well, I'll leave it at that. That was my top 3. So we're going to go into the last thing of the night. We are going to go into the trivia. What I want you to do is just put a name next to the number, and then add it up in the end and tell me what your score is out of the 13. Whoever has the highest score wins a special prize from yours truly. Steve, if you could roll the film. Now, I only wanted to do 13 because the number 13.
Wow. I only got like 5 of them, and I don't even know if they're correct. So
no.
All right. Yeah, so we're going to go over those real quick and then add up your score. All right, Steve, what was the first one? Evil Dead.
Oh.
The Evil Dead. Oh, excellent movie, by the way. Loved it. All right, second movie, Steven. The Howling.
I should have known that one too.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Third one,
right.
I think.
Third one, Steve.
Third one.
Got that one.
I think everybody would have got that one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Number 4, Steve.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know why this isn't horror. Swamp Thing is not. It's a comic book, but they put
it's like Toxic Avengers being in
Yes,
right.
yes.
Right. All right, fifth one. Remember this one?
Right.
I about that one.
Dude, this was good. This falls on like a Rebecca thing where like it's just stupid funny.
It's just good, yeah.
So 6, please.
Got that one.
Yep.
7.
Fright Night, yes.
Fright Night.
Yeah.
8.
Yes. I'm trying to but I got that one.
9.
Yes.
10.
Of course.
Nightmare on Elm Street. 11. Bad Dreams.
Never
Should star on that one.
Nope.
You know what? I don't know what that
I thought
is.
that was Scream for a minute.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, it looked like that.
You have to be really good.
Right.
Yeah.
Number 12, Steve. Prom night.
Oh, we were talking about that.
Yeah, and I didn't get it.
Yeah.
And last, 13.
Ooh,
The
I don't
burning.
know that one.
Oh man,
I don't even know what burning is.
No idea.
Me neither.
All right, so Pat, what was your score?
I got 4 out of 13. I
4
did
out of
horrible
13.
in this.
Yeah, I would have gave you an F at school.
Yeah.
All right, Shell, what was your score?
I got 6.
You got 6.
Wow.
Jill, what was your score?
I'm with Pat. I got 4.
4.
I'm
2
ashamed.
dunce caps. All right,
For the
oh my
win.
God, don't ruin this for me.
I'm so sorry. 4. I
Holy
recognize
God.
them. I recognize, but I'm like, I don't remember name. I'm so bad with names. If I had known, I would have studied.
Well, that's why it's called
Why'd you hold your pen like that too?
Yeah, what was up that?
Right.
Me.
And that's why I looked at covers of DVDs and videos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we have a winner here, Miss Michelle Ward. And what you've won today, and when I see you very soon, you will receive 1 shiny quarter from Neal Gibbons.
All right.
Oh man, I could have used that.
Man, that's the
trade
gift that keeps on giving there, Clark. I'll tell you. Well, tonight was a lot of fun. It was just fun, nothing like serious or anything like that. And that's what I like to have sometimes. It's just some of this thing. So, Pat and Rebecca, I thank you for coming on tonight from Ghostly Podcast. I'll be seeing you guys this Saturday night.
Can't wait.
I'm very excited about this. So, for Dark Matters, Winter Tales, once again, February 25th and 26th.
Yeah, we'll be on the Friday night. Pat and I are.
We're doing the 25th.
Friday
You're doing the
night.
26th, but I will be running tech for all of it. So
Yep,
All
I'll be
right.
at
I
the
will
door.
be there. Yeah.
Great. And people can buy tickets at the door as well?
Yes, you can come buy
Yes.
tickets to the door. Yeah, you can buy them online right now. Day of, you can't buy them online. Just got to come down and buy
It
them.
might say it's sold out the day of, but it's not.
Likely not.
It's just their weird ticketing system that they have there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And Miss Michelle Ward, our winner tonight, thank you for coming out as usual.
Thank you for
I always
having me.
appreciate
Good
you
seeing
coming on.
everybody.
Nice to
Yeah.
see you, Shelley.
see
Nice
you.
to meet you
Yeah.
guys.
All right, perfect. And as always, I'm Neal Gibbons, and this is my co-host, Jill Urchek. And like we always say, boys and girls, boo.